This is The Entrepreneur, hosted by Joshua Yankovic.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to The Entrepreneur. My name is Joshua Yankovic of Yanko Visual, and joining me today is Derrick Washington from Zion Agency, the Zion Agency. I'm going to let him break it down a little bit and talk about what he does and where he kind of came from as far as the entrepreneurial mindset and the entrepreneurial venture goes.
Thanks for having me, man. I always knew I wanted to try entrepreneurship, and marketing was something that I was attracted to, but didn't necessarily know how to go about it. So it definitely allowed me to imagine a better future for me and my family. And we do a little bit of SEO, PPC work. More recently, just got into social media marketing with the help of the marketing director for the company that I work for right now. So that's a little bit about us right now. Who knows? We might dabble into more stuff later on.
Nice. So it sounds like you're getting into, like you said, PPC, SEO, social media marketing.
Yeah.
So for those that are watching that don't know what any of those mean, they may have heard those. Those are just like very much keywords. They're thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
Let's talk about SEO. So it stands for search engine optimization.
Indeed.
When a business needs SEO, when they hire someone to do SEO, they come to you as Zion Agency. What are they looking, or what are they expecting you to do?
The way I would explain it, is basically taking all of their digital imprint online and making sure that it matches across all platforms. So addresses, physical address, PO boxes, emails, contact information. You know, when you search something on Google, it goes out there and crawls the web, grabbing all these information factors and just trying to make sure it's as accurate as possible.
Right.
If it's not accurate, then you're not getting the proper search results for whatever category you may be searching for.
I like to break it down, like really like get in depth with it with the algorithms, because the algorithm it rates your business as a whole based on your presence on every single platform. It connects all of it into a big web, and I like to think of it like the bigger the web you have, the more reach you have, the more potential to catch a lead. Which a lead, you want leads for your business, right? So you want a big net. So the bigger, literally, the web you have, the more people you're going to be in potential to receive.
Yeah.
So awesome. Yeah, no, SEO is a crucial part of business. And if you're not doing it as a business, you're already behind. You're already like losing money.
I agree. It's definitely one of those slow and steady wins a race type deals, as per like running ads, which is more of an immediate visual thing for recognition wise. But SEO is definitely important because I've noticed a lot of inconsistencies among certain businesses when it comes to their stuff on the web. I mean, even having multiple websites attached to the same business name, or 2 or 3 GMBs that aren't updated.
You know, now you're using abbreviations.
So GMB, Google My Business.
Mhm.
So
and Google My Business is a big part of it. That incorporates your website, everything of all that's connected to it, and it connects to Google Analytics, which you absolutely require to use if you're doing PPC. So let's jump into PPC and talk about what PPC is and what that service is that you offer people.
So PPC is pay per click. I mean, it's pretty
Pay per
straightforward.
click.
Yeah, pay per click. Yeah, like pay per view, but pay per click.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward. It's just running ads based on an ad budget for like clientele. So obviously, if you want to target a certain keyword, you can, funnel money into that and generate. Obviously, whoever's spending the most money on the same keyword is going to get the highest rating on Google when someone searches said keyword. But I tend to like to do that. It's a quicker way of getting your name out there versus the long con. All factors are important. I mean, some people want to go with the short game and get recognition quickly, but I feel like having multiple avenues of getting the same result is the most beneficial.
So Google My Business is really tied into the analytics and the front side, I think. And then you also have your social media marketing. And I don't think most people realize that all that's tied together as far as your SEO goes. SEO is all that, right?
Yep.
So social media marketing, that's another term that's thrown around a lot and people think about it. It's interesting though that anybody could do social media marketing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, a lot of people already are doing it. They might not be doing it effectively, but they're doing it. It's one of those things where you kind of have to do it more often versus not just do it once or twice and then let it ride.
Yeah.
But I just recently got into it, and I'm actually working with the marketing person for the company that I work for. So I've recently take over the social media pages for the restaurants that I work for, so I could basically learn as I do.
Yeah, that's huge. That's going to allow you to test and experiment.
Right.
And that's a lot of what I did for the first couple of years, was working with other brands, and that allowed me to figure out what worked and what didn't.
Yeah.
And the trick of social media, I think, is failing and failing quickly. They talk about that. I don't know who coined that or talked about that, but
I've definitely heard that.
it's failing and failing quickly because you get into it and then you can figure out from the data quickly what's working, and you can cut the ads where they're not and increase the ads where they are.
Right. I agree.
But that's pay to play. That takes money and a strategic approach to it. A lot of people just throw money at social media and they aren't getting the return on investment that they could.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the purpose of it. I haven't got into the social media ads yet. Right now, we're doing just generic and organic posts to bring more attraction to our
current audience.
Yep.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Cool. So I know you also came today with some questions, and you wanted to talk about a few things. If you want to jump into that, let's we can. I'm all ears for whatever you'd like to talk about.
So, man, my first question, because I wanted to bring the segue back to you. When did you start your business? Because I am curious.
Okay, so what part of what business?
Well, I mean, I guess since you have multiple, that makes sense. Yanka Visuals.
To answer your question directly, short answer is 2020, January 1st, 2020. I really got serious about saying this is a thing that I want to do. Like this is my entity. Yanka Visual is my entity for business, for my art, for whatever art I want to put out in the world, whatever that's creative that I can do. I want to put it out on this, under this platform, under this name. So really at the end of 2020. And I just kept doing what I love to do. I was working for basically next to nothing, super cheap for most people. And I just kept doing what I like to do. And more people continued to pay me to do what I love to do, which is create things.
That's always nice, getting paid to do what you already like to do.
Yeah, I mean, then it's not really work at that point. That's what they talk
Right.
about. Now, I am at the point where, because I'm so much more business minded now and much more aware of business and not so naive about business,
Right.
I think of it a lot of it as work, because there is so much more than, just the creative part of it. And so, yeah, short answer is the beginning of 2020.
Nice. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I moved out here at the end of 2020. So, yeah, and I didn't really think I was gonna do anything with this up until probably about 6 months ago. Realistically,
That's awesome.
taking
Where did you
things.
come up with the name Zion?
So, the name is I Americanized the name. The name is actually of Japanese origin. It's pronounced Shion, but I changed it to Zion because I don't want to call it Shion. But my mother, she was half Japanese, half black, and the word means unforgettable. So it was kind of a ode to my mother.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So I was like, okay, but a lot of people can say the word Zion, but when people think about Zion, they think about like a higher power or upper echelon. So I figured it would work.
Or the city in the Matrix.
Yeah.
So much.
I didn't even think about that.
There's so much symbolism in it.
Oh yeah.
And
So I was just
really
like,
cool.
man, it worked. And I was like, yeah, I like it. I said it. The more I said it, the more it resonated with me. So that's how I ended up with that name.
That's awesome.
Indeed, man.
Cool. Well, you got some more questions?
Yeah, man, I got a couple. I'm not gonna lie. I did these all last minute. I was like, man, I need to talk about something. How How did you go about getting your name out there? Like I know you say you did collectives like meetups and stuff. Like, did you market your own business or did you like allow your already work take care of you getting more work? If I'm saying that correctly,
Like
like
word of
because you were
mouth.
yeah okay
So I am really grateful that you are asking me this question
right
because I am currently just now in this like past couple months hitting a stride where I have realized how to actually market myself.
right
Or I'm beginning to see it better. I have been getting paid to help other people, and I can tell anybody like what they needed to do. But there's this weird disconnect for me that I haven't been able to see until more recently of how I need to treat myself the same way and treat myself like a brand in a business and my own business as a entity.
right
It really helped to register the LLC and get the EIN number. Like that really helped me like physically separate from it. And then now I can like look at it like this is the brand. I can treat this business entity as something separate from myself because I have this weird, it's like self-deprecating like tendency to not think of myself positively. So
right
I end up not accurately, I think, portraying myself because I can't, it's a weird disconnect for me. So I've
no
recently begun to like started to see that better. But yeah, it's funny, like it's so cool and that you're bringing this up to me because that's something that I'm recently getting into. To answer your question, I have begun to treat the business exactly how I tell other people to treat their businesses. The biggest brand I did, I raised in 11 months, not raised, in 11 months, I grew their audience by over 5,000 people.
nice
And that's the biggest number, which it could have been done quicker if they had put in more money into the budget for advertising and online marketing. Now, they actually never had a budget. I had to like submit and kind of pull teeth to get budgets for each advertising because they weren't giving me an actual like monthly budget.
right
So the majority of that gain in followers was organic content, and it was just consistent, daily, high quality content. And that is, I think, a big part of it because you're maximizing the amount of content that a platform can take. So every platform has kind of a limit for what's going to be effective, and then the reach just starts to drop off after a certain point. TikTok can take like 3 to 5 posts a day, and then after that, it's gonna start dropping down. Now, I could be incorrect on that, and the algorithms are constantly changing. But treating them like living beings is also really helpful for me because I'm like I say entity, giving the algorithm what it wants, which is a little bit of money and high quality content that converts and engages with people that they're gonna like want to share, or want to follow, or want to like. Now, I look at it like, how can I consistently put out content? It's a full-time job. It's a full-time job because I mean, I was doing a full-time job for that brand that I helped grow. And another trick was creating all the content early up front and then scheduling it out well in advance. So you could schedule an entire month out on one day,
yeah
or 2 weeks out, or 1 week out on one day. So that was a trick to managing the time and being effective with it. People are doing the wrong thing when they are just throwing money at it and boosting posts. As you are probably well aware,
right
boosting a post and allowing the algorithm to like randomly share it isn't effective. Like you need targeted parameters that are actually effectively reaching who you want to reach. Um, so your question was, how did I gain my name? How did I put my name out there, and how did I gain leads? Up to this point, it's been word of mouth because I have here and there like strategically put money behind certain posts that I know will engage and I know will like turn into followers.
right
For example, I put a video out for Yanko Visual, the Facebook page, and I started several certain demographics, and that one post I gained like 2,000 followers from that one post.
nice
So it's a matter of knowing what is effective for the audience you want to reach, and then combining that with the content that goes with it. Now, that's how I would gain followers and my name out there on social media. Another part of it is the actual just physical networking, which is I think a lot of people are really good at that because I've seen a lot of people with like their follower count is the same as their following count
Hmm.
because they're doing so much networking. They're literally just follow for follow,
Right.
which isn't a bad way to do it. But that doesn't create your like core audience. You just have a bunch of people that you followed and they
Right.
followed you back.
It's just like an exchange at that point, really. I'll
Right.
follow you, you follow me. Not
Yeah, because you like made a connection physically in person, which
right.
there's nothing wrong with that. But if I'm trying to like advertise to someone and I want to reach an audience that is going to become a client and become a customer, then I need to frame what I'm doing for sure.
Well, that is very helpful because I'm in the same process of trying to figure that same thing out as well. I was like, I want to help other people, but how do I help myself as well?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I think it's difficult. And the people that are really good at it, we can look at people like Mr. Beast. I would throw out names that
Mr.
are
Beast, yeah,
I'll throw out names that are really popular and really successful in their business. Mr. Beast is when it comes to content, a genius, and content that converts and engages with his core audience. His core audience is massive because he's put it down to a formula of how to make content that engages with a massive audience. And he's spent years doing it and years getting good at it. Like he wasn't good
right,
at first, but he also had the benefit or the benefit of having a connection with a handful of people that did it with him. So like they were like, I don't know if they were living together. I can't remember the whole story, but they got together and started making content and they spent years getting good at like figuring out what was going viral
yeah,
and then doing it consistently going viral.
right. It's like
Um,
Dude Perfect. I watch a lot of Dude Perfect. I don't know if
nice.
you've heard of those guys, but I remember when they first
I
started
have not.
out. Oh, well, they do a lot of trick shots. It's just a group of guys. Two of them, I believe, are twins, but they are more recently breaking a lot of Guinness World Records on YouTube, and they just do a bunch of like trick shots, like
Mm,
trick shots when you're playing beer pong. Just and their shots have gotten a lot more creative lately,
nice.
but it's definitely interesting to watch because
Yeah, the growth of
yeah,
like what they figuring out what converts, like
oh yeah,
what angles, what colors, what type of lingo, what type of hooks
right,
on their videos, what type of thumbnails on the YouTube channel.
indeed,
Yeah, it all is like really intricate. At the same time simple. Figuring it out is
right. Well, it also helps to
hard,
have a bunch of
but it's
minds
simple at the end.
helping as well.
Oh,
From
100%.
trying to do it alone, you don't really unless you have someone to bounce those ideas off of. It kind of it's just you and your thoughts,
Yeah, and that's tough. And that's
trial and
another
error.
I think that is on that point, I think that's another reason why I didn't grow and didn't put out more content that was for my promotion because I was overthinking every piece of content. I was looking at it and thinking, oh, this isn't good enough, or oh, this isn't like accurately portraying me. Like I was really worried, and it's still a thought that I deal with is that when I post a piece of content, I'm like, is this really accurately portraying me and the personal brand that I want to put out? Something that helped me a lot was learning that your personal brand is not what you choose it to be. Your
Right,
personal brand is the public's perception of your brand, and you create your personal brand by the consistency of the content you create. And then I learned about personal branding and like content pillars and content values. So now my all my content is basically falling into three categories. It's falling into beauty and fashion, art, and like I try to hit motivational, but I also like don't hit that all the time. But I on my like more personal pages, I do like stick with motivational stuff because that's really for me. Like when I post motivational content, it's as much for me as I think it is for anyone else.
yeah,
I literally don't care if anyone else is motivated by it. I see it and I get motivated by the content I post for motivational purposes.
yeah. I've seen a couple of those motivational posts. I saved a few of them because I'm like, I've more recently tried to like I guess find those motivational posts more versus the content that I used to watch
Hmm.
all over social media. And I'm like, the more I follow, the more I look at your stuff, the more it just organically shows up.
Right.
Obviously, based
Yeah.
off this
Just
stuff. So
naturally.
I'm
The
feeding
algorithm
into
thinks
it.
you want to
Yeah.
see it.
So I'm feeding into it a lot, and I'm like, man, I'm getting myself pumped up now. I can, like,
I love
man,
it.
it's
That's
it's
how I
it's
feel.
great.
Like I have filled my feed with motivational and creative. Like, so I have multiple pages now, and I am on the admin side of multiple brands pages as well. So I get to see other people's content, and each page has its own set of preferences from the algorithm. My personal page, it's basically all motivational and art and
Right.
and tattoos.
Hey, tattoos are great.
I agree.
Well, I was gonna ask, do you have any advice for new business owners? Because obviously, there's gonna be more that come to follow. I have a few people in my circle that kind of want to start their own businesses and have ideas. I could obviously tell them how I did it, but I wanted to know your insight and stuff like that on yours.
Dude, I'm really grateful that you're asking this question because it's something that I have, also been recently dealing with. It's something that I consistently think of myself as a new entrepreneur. Like I'm just getting into this. I've recently started my LLC. I recently filed for the EIN number, and that has allowed me to separate myself from the business and look at it as a business entity, and I can help make that grow just like I help other people make their businesses grow and other people help their brands grow. Like I can now do that for myself. I haven't been doing all the stuff that an entrepreneur is supposed to do. Like there is no linear like path that you have to go on. There's just a lot of ducks that have to be lined up to get started. I look at myself as a new entrepreneur in this business. I've been pushing towards it for a couple of years now, but at the same time, like not, like I said, doing the right things all in the right order.
Right.
But I've now created a scenario where all that can take place. I do recommend moving towards something that you can think of yourself separate from and look at as a thing to grow because it's not just you that you're helping grow in that business. Like you are learning to help this entity grow. And I would say get rid of the excuses, get rid of the reasons for why you're not already doing it. And just like our healing journey that we're all on, the entrepreneur journey is not linear, is how I would put it.
No, I definitely agree. I it took some courage for me to go ahead and step in that direction because I had a lot of doubt before I decided to just jump headfirst into it. And I was just like, man, I don't know if I can do this. I came up with a million excuses on why I shouldn't do it versus of trying to find excuses of why I should. And I had to focus on changing my mindset to get me to take that leap.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worked out for me so far. I'm still working
Did
on it.
you start reading? What did you do to begin to change your mindset
So
about
I did
taking
start
action?
reading. Well, no, I didn't start reading. I hate reading. Reading puts me to sleep. I listen to
I think a lot
audio.
of people relate to that.
I listen to audiobooks. I can
Yeah, that's
focus
cool.
more audiobooks. If I work out, I listen to audiobooks while I'm
Mm-hmm.
working out. I started listening to more podcasts, more motivational, more entrepreneurial stuff. And there was a book that I read more recently called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And
Highly recommend.
it is a great
Highly
book.
recommend the book.
It is a great book. And what was this book? Talk about a millionaire mind or something like that.
Cool.
That book helped me change the way I thought about a lot of things, especially when it came to money and just opportunity. So I was like, man, I'm gonna give this a shot and stop doubting myself or telling myself I shouldn't do it. I should wait, because the more I tell myself I should wait, the more I wait, obviously. So yeah,
Nice. I love
it
it.
was nice.
Yeah, it sounds like you began to feed your brain different stuff.
Yeah.
For me, it took cold turkey quitting video games. I cut the amount of like TV, just like shows I was watching. I cut that into a fraction of the time I was spending. If you begin to track the time you spend doing things, it's gonna make it really painful and really obvious where you're spending your time and why you're not starting a business.
Well, the awesome thing about the iPhone is it actually tracks that stuff for you.
Yeah, it does. It
Like
does track some stuff.
The screen time feature.
Yeah.
Looking at my wife's and my kids' screen time, because since we're all on the same family plan and stuff, and I take a look at theirs, and I was like, man, it's you spend
You have two kids, right?
yes,
And one on the
I
way.
was like, yes, exactly. And
Congrats on
they
the
all
one on the
have
way, bro.
iPads, man. I appreciate it. They all have iPads, and I'm like, I look at the amount of time that I see the application YouTube or TikTok open, and I'm just like, that's ridiculous. And then I look at my phone, and I'm like, I'm actually not doing too bad because I really only spend probably an hour a day watching TV, and it's usually when I'm like trying to relax and get into the I want to go to sleep mood, unwinding at the end of the day. So I'm like, okay, what can
But
I
you know,
change?
even that's terrible for you, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Screen
it
time,
is.
screen time
Yes.
before bed is
It is
it reduces
very
your
bad.
quality of sleep significantly.
Yeah, I started buying blue light glasses so I could block the blue light.
Yeah, that probably helps a lot.
It does actually. I get a lot more sound sleep out of it.
That's what's up.
But yeah, man, just changing habits here and there or adapting healthier habits, more mind focused habits has helped me a lot. And I can
Yeah, and I
definitely
love
see
that
the growth.
because I mean, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
I love that because you have just begun little by little, just like me. It took a little, it took what it took. It took what it
Right.
took to get myself in gear to move that direction, to move towards seeing myself as an entrepreneur. Like, I can do this. Like, it took a while. This job I recently started significantly helped. It's in this position where I had more responsibility than I ever had before. I was coordinating and dealing with 20 plus people a week. I mean, just I was managing a lot of people
Right.
and dealing with a lot of responsibility. And the second week of doing that, I was like realizing that I've been scared of nothing. I've been scared and fearful of running a business for nothing. Like, the fear that I had was completely unfounded. As soon as I like actually was in a position to have a lot more responsibility and see a bigger picture, and that's a really good point there, is that I saw a bigger picture. I continued to take myself out of delusions because it was delusional to think that I couldn't run a business. It
Right.
was delusional to think that I wasn't good enough to run a business. It was delusional to think that I didn't have time to run a business. It was delusional to think that, oh, other people can do it, but I'm not meant to do that. It's
Right.
delusional. And I believe like everyone's living in an illusion of some sort of their own making. And I have just consistently been choosing to pull myself out of delusions. And that's how I'm viewing them. Like,
Right.
the thoughts that I have or used to have, not so much anymore, not as much anymore. But the thoughts I used to have that were just so negative. It took me a long time. It took me over a year of sobriety of no substances whatsoever, besides, I mean, like caffeine, to start to see that I was so filled with negativity that it was no wonder that I couldn't see myself honestly and pull myself out of the delusions that I was in.
No, I can relate. I can definitely relate. It is hard to put something new in your box that hasn't already been there because everybody starts with something in their box, and for me I feel like it comes like basically handed down from when you're smaller up into just like the stuff that you put into it. So I just started putting different things in my box and trying to pull out other stuff, and it's working for me. I'm not a perfect person, but I'm getting there, and I'm hoping to at least help my kids get there quicker than I did, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because how old's your oldest?
My oldest is 6. She just
So
started school.
dude, it's crucial, man. You're making in my opinion, a huge move. You're doing something I think that's going to really radically change the trajectory of your children because, as you know, like our kids, I don't have any kids yet. I plan to have at least, two, at least two. And the subconscious mind is developed between ages 0 and 7. So for your your oldest daughter, to see you doing something radically different with your life, I can only imagine like how significantly that's gonna like impact her in the long run because her subconscious will begin to believe that dad's doing this different things. He's doing more, even though she won't know exactly what you're doing. She won't understand it. Her heart and I think the energy will be there because
Indeed.
she'll pick that up and say, and her subconscious later in life will have that like assurance that she can do that stuff too.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
she's definitely full of curiosity, especially like I don't remember 6-year-olds being as smart as I feel like my child is, or as of aware of things that they probably shouldn't be aware of.
Yeah.
Because she asks questions about everything. Like she's like, "Are you going to work?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to do a podcast." She's like, "Are you going to mommy's work?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to do a podcast." She's like, "What's a podcast?" So I'm like, "I'll explain it to you tomorrow." But she's
Will she remember? She'll ask you for sure.
oh no, she doesn't forget. If I tell her I'm gonna tell her something later, she'll ask me about it a million times until I tell her.
I love that.
She's
So your oldest is 6, and how old's your second?
my second kid. She just turned 3.
Just turned 3.
Yep,
Wow, that's so
October
cool.
11th. Like
I think when
2 weeks ago.
your first daughter
She
was
new.
she was like under 3. She was like
Yeah,
maybe 2.
She was new to see. I started working at Blue Moose in 2016.
That's around when I met you.
Probably
Yeah,
so.
I met you around
Yeah,
towards the end of 2016, I think.
yeah. And my
Because I didn't
daughter-
work there very long.
Yeah, my daughter was born September 3rd, 2016. So she was less than 6 months old.
Okay, I didn't realize it was that young.
Mhm.
So she was brand new.
She was brand new. Yep.
Awesome, dude. I can't believe it's been that long.
I know, right? Time flies.
It really does.
It's insane.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm really grateful for you to bring the questions. Yeah, it was like it's honestly a great opportunity for me too, like just as much as for anyone. And I hope that this recording can reach someone and in some way motivate somebody because we are both clear, obvious evidence of the fact that you can do it. You can do this too. It just takes a few simple things. It's not difficult. It is difficult, but it's simple. It's not complicated. It's simple and it's not easy, but it just takes the consistency to do it and start. And it took me a couple of years to get to this point to be able to think about how I'm doing what I'm doing.
Consistency. Another great book, The Power of Consistency.
Nice.
I read that book and it changed my outlook on some of the things that I've been, let's say, off-putting or procrastinating at. Because I'm a hardcore procrastinator, or at least I used to be up until recently. But I noticed little consistent steps go a long way. And I'm like, I don't know why I thought it was so hard before to just do it. It's like you don't have to take a lot of major action, but you can do small things every day that'll give you major steps
Yeah.
quicker than you realize.
Yeah.
But-
You know what really hit me hard was once I started tracking my time, because I actually track everything I do. I have an app. It's called, I think it's called iTracker or.
It might be. I might have to download this.
It's called A Tracker, letter A Tracker, and I track everything I do. Almost 24 hours of tracking time. So I have a really accurate time management concept in my head of like where I'm spending my time. And it breaks it down into a bar graph, into a pie chart.
Nice.
It breaks it down. You can put different dates and look at where you're spending your time and how you're spending your time. So that's how I know I work 60 hours a week at the one job. That's how I know I put another 20 hours a week into video editing for weddings and putting it into my own business because I'm tracking it. Like I literally can like show you. I'm like, nope, this is what I'm doing. Now I don't show that to everybody because it's a lot for some people, but I learned that the hard way too because it repelled some people of me being like, look, I'm tracking all this time. They're like, dude, you're clearly autistic.
No, say, I mean, it's not an autism. It's just holding yourself accountable.
That's very true
know?
as well.
Just making sure you're putting at least enough time or some time into.
Yeah, and I don't use the word
different.
autistic as derogatory at all. I
Oh, no.
was diagnosed early this year.
That's crazy. Yeah, my youngest daughter, she was slower on the speaking or whatever. Like she lagged in development when it came to speaking, mainly because her first few years of life we spent away from people because quarantine happened right after she was born. So she had delayed speech. So she saw a speech pathologist for a while.
Hmm.
And she recommended that she thought our child might be on the spectrum for a little bit. So happily, she's not, at least. That's what we were told based on her recent evaluation. But it was a interesting process that we went through for like a good 6 months to a year of seeing this woman once a week.
Hmm.
It was interesting.
Yeah, I bet you learned a lot about yourself
did.
too.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot of things that I should have been doing that I wasn't doing for sure.
So let's jump back into the entrepreneur and business and entrepreneurship. You got any more questions?
Um,
Anything you thought of since we've been talking here?
no, not really. I mean, happy for you for getting your LLC.
Thank you.
I seen that post. I was like, yeah, I got mine. I was like,
You actually inspired me to finish doing that.
well,
It's been on my to-do list.
That,
It's
man.
been on my to-do list for 2 years.
Good. No, the training program that I went through, it just seemed like a no-brainer. I mean, they set my ducks in a row to allow me to get there as quickly as I could. I actually did it a lot faster than I thought I was going to, because it was supposed to be like a 3-month course, and I finished it in like 30 days. But I put in a massive amount of time into it.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
they set me up with a company that helped me and everything too. But yeah, I don't really know if I have any more questions. At least nothing comes to mind.
So what's some of your goals that you have for your business now that you're started?
So
Because I just I'm thinking about people that may be listening that are also in this position, or our future children or our future grandchildren. Hey, what's up? Shout out to you. Might be listening. Tell them how you got started. What did you look to do? What's your goals now?
So right now I'm working on automation, setting up my systems so they basically run themselves with little to no effort at all. Trying to gain a client base. I'm doing cold calling, trying to generate as many leads, just get my name out there. I'm using word of mouth, handing out business cards, trying to get some merch. I've just recently started trying to advertise, so I advertise my business on Yelp as of right now, at least as a starter, so I can gain some traffic, and I like their platform because I can see what my organic versus non-organic leads are. But
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm really just trying to, I'm dipping my feet in the water right now, trying to make some ripples, man.
Splashing about.
Oh yeah.
That's what's up. Okay. So you heard it here. If you are at the point where you're looking to do business, I would say look at your business as it would be already when it's full scale. If you treat your business as a scalable business, like this is a business model that can scale to multiple employees, that can scale to multiple clients at once, what does that look like? And how can you set that up at the beginning? For me, I am going to next begin to look for virtual assistants and in-person assistants, because I can get the clients. I know I can. So
Right.
I need to have people to help me field those clients in a fashion where we produce the content or the consulting that they require for their brand. And so I'm right there with you. Like it's a matter of let's get let's get this automated to the point where we can, like, whatever can be like streamlined needs to be streamlined. The
Indeed.
funnel has to be set up. Are you familiar with sales funnels
Yes.
and click funnels?
Yes. Briefly.
So those
Yes.
are some key terms that you should Google if you're trying to start a business. A reason that I helped that brand grow by over 5,000 people was because I had an organic ClickFunnels set up. So all the content that I could put some money behind, paired with all the organic content that I couldn't put money behind, was really all driving towards the brand's website and the brand's ticketing system and the brand's pages where leads could be generated and be tracked, because certain aspects weren't trackable. Now, if I was the owner of that business, I'm going to set up my business page and my lead generation like pages to the point where everything can be tracked and I can get data behind everything. The data is like really, really important. That's why these massive brands are so huge on the data, and they can throw millions of dollars at a project. They're getting so much data back so quickly that they're able to so quickly transition and move and pivot into the right category of advertising or content that's resonating with the target audience.
Right.
We have to treat ourselves as the same type of entities where we need to test everything that we can think of, create avatars, like profiles for our target audience, like who's our target audience. So for you, it's your business, your B2B, right?
Mhm.
Zion Agency is targeting other businesses, small businesses.
Small businesses.
So if I was targeting businesses for SEO services and marketing services, I would be visiting all those like small businesses in the area. I would like going and asking what people's problems were, because the way I see it, and this is not even my words, but I'm embodying this, is that I get paid in a fashion that directly relates to the problems I can solve. Like, I'm a man of solutions, and how can I bring my solutions to others that have the problems that I have solutions for? So I know I can solve the problem of how can I capture my wedding video? How can I capture my wedding in a way that's attractive to me and everyone else and provides a valuable asset or piece of content for history, like for the family's history. Like, I look at every wedding video that I produce as a piece of like history for that family, like a posterity, like the future generations, like their kids are going to be able to have that because it's going to sit on a thumb drive or it's going to sit on a computer forever. Like, it's just going to be sitting there and it's going to be a piece of history for them, or it will be online in a place where you can go back and visit it.
Indeed.
And I think even in down the line, we'll have artificial intelligence that will be able to create holograms and holographic videos from our normal 1080p and 4K videos. So that's on the way, in my opinion. I've been predicting it for quite some time. It's the first time I think I've said it publicly, but the point where AI creates videos is really, really close. So within our lifetimes, it will. I mean, it's already kind of a thing, but it's within our lifetimes. You know how there is footage from the late 1800s and early 1900s that's really like low quality, but artificial intelligence has gone in, they've applied it, and it's replaced the frames and turned the frames into 60 frames per second.
Nice.
4K footage. Have you seen those clips?
I don't believe so.
It's really fascinating to see. Like, you think of like crackly, like low quality, grainy video. Well, the artificial intelligence that they apply to the videos replaces frames because it just predicts like what's in those frames, and it creates a 1080p, or not 1080p, but it creates 60p, 60 frames per second videos, and it's like ridiculously high quality. So that's been 100 years later. Think of what artificial intelligence will be able to do to our current videos in another 50 years.
It's gonna be outrageous, man.
That is why I put a high personal value on all the video content that I produce, because for the sake of posterity, it has a higher value. So I look at where is there a pain point and where can I have a solution to that pain point. And everyone has a problem. Everyone in business has a problem. Every business owner has a problem. Every organization and corporation has a problem. And you could be the one to bring those solutions.
Yep, that's what we're here for, man.
Messages to myself too. Like, I'm just saying, you as the listener, if you're watching this on YouTube, what's up? If you're hearing this on the podcast audio, I encourage you to begin to change your mindset, and that will lead to different decisions and the belief that you can actually do exactly what you want to do, which is live a meaningful life, a purposeful life. That's what I strive to do. I strive to live a purposeful life. Like, people ask me, what's a ideal day for me? A day filled with purpose and results. Now, maybe that's really like masculine type of mindset, but I want to produce and provide results. I want to have solutions for people when they ask me questions. Like, I want to be able to provide to someone else what I have in here and here. So like,
Right.
how can I do that effectively? And that kind of like thinking has led me to getting handed a check for it.
Well, I like that. Yeah, man. Finding your purpose is definitely what we are put on earth to figure out, man.
Yeah.
So
What have you done, or what have you figured out so far with like what's your purpose?
honestly, I'm still working on it, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm new to everything, and honestly, I was a firm believer as I didn't know what my purpose was, but
A firm believer that you
yeah,
didn't know.
yeah, like I did not.
Did you think were you at that, were you before thinking you could know, or you were just like, well, I just don't know and I don't know?
Yeah, I was just like I don't know, and I was content with not knowing what my purpose was. Now I'm trying to actively seek out what that purpose is.
Yeah, I
So
think
that
I
can
think that when you get into business type of mindset, you end up finding it.
Yeah,
You end up finding some reasons to do what we do.
indeed. But
I don't know where I figured it out. Maybe it was from all the psychedelics I took and the drugs I did, to realize that I was here. I was put here for a number of reasons, but I was put here primarily to create beautiful shit, or capture beautiful shit where it already exists.
right,
And I've taken that, and that's helped me provide value to a lot of people. And it's like brought me to a point where I can think of like, how can I serve others in a degree that provides enough value that they'll pay me for it. Not that money is ever the goal in that endeavor, because the goal is to serve others. Like, how can I serve others to maximize the positive impact on the reality around me? Because if I can serve others in a way that builds other people up and helps other people and provides solutions for other people and gives results to other people that need those, that in turn builds me up and brings me into a degree that I did not ever think of myself. That's what I'm finding, is that the more people I can serve, the more valuable I am. And I don't take that, and that's a tricky statement there, because I don't necessarily want to say that my productivity is connected to my value, because my value is inherently like within me. Like the kingdom is within right here. So
right.
I don't need to serve others, but by serving others, I live a
Yeah.
purposeful life that provides value.
I feel like we get more fulfillment out of it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, fulfillment's a good word to put on it. So, Mr. Derrick, we've reached the point in the podcast where I ask every guest this question. It's one of my favorite questions to ask people. So, if the you from 10 years from now walked up to you and had some advice for you for where you're at right now, what would the advice be?
Take more risk. Honestly,
That's a good one.
it's like I
Yeah.
mean, that's how I feel about the me from right now to the me 10 years ago, because I feel like I should have took more risks when I was younger.
Yeah, I say that
Probably
too.
would have been a lot further off than I am now, and I'm starting a little late, but I'm gonna get there, man. Take more risks.
Love it. Yeah, and again, I said earlier, like, it takes what it takes.
Yeah.
We're here now. Like, we're still like in the prime, like this is a better time than any time to do what we need to do to get to where we want to be, and to be that man that you just described 10 years from now.
Right.
Myself and my answer for this question changes, I think, every time. My answer would be, if the 10-year from now man walked up to me, he would say, keep on keeping on and keep retaining the value within yourself, and do not allow validation from others divert you from the inherent value that's already in you. You don't need anyone else's opinion, even the positive ones. Gary Vee talks about tuning it all out. because tuning the negative thoughts out, or not thoughts, but the negative comments and negative perspectives about what you're doing from others, I think is easier. But then you're left with the positive aspects of what you want to hear from people. And I've recently begun to fully embody and understand the significance of his statement. It's like tune it all out. You can't put value on the good things that people say to you or the bad things. And he
Right.
talks about it with like the hater comments, which I don't have any like hater comments. I'm not like viral and I'm not famous, so I don't have haters. I mean, maybe I have haters, but
Everybody has haters, man.
and they say if you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
I just don't know really, and I don't care, so I don't pay
Right.
I don't pay any attention to it. But I've been realizing lately that I was left with people who could give me positivity, and then I was actually seeking that and asking for it. And then I caught myself doing it. Like staying objective and staying on top of watching myself do stuff and say stuff. Like I'm at the point now where I analyze every conversation I have, every action I take, I think about it later and I think, what was I doing there? Now lately I've been able to dial in even more where I'm in real time watching myself do stuff and watching myself in real time have conversations. Like I feel pretty good about this conversation today. And this is like some powerful stuff that I hope other people are listening to, and listening to the facts that you can do anything that you want to do, but you can't be anything you want to be. You can just be what you already are.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I mean, I've always been a genuine person, and I'm just trying to keep that, man.
That light, people talk about that. It's like that's the light inside you. As the light just goes out.
Right.
That's funny.
That was insane. It was like, bam, eureka, but the light went off.
I think that about wraps up this episode, man. It's been awesome having you here. Do you have any other thoughts, any final words of wisdom for the listeners? And you can actually like look right in that camera and speak to whoever you'd like to speak to.
Man, I just want to say to anyone out there that doesn't think they can do what it is they want to do, just believe that you can and take steps in the right direction. It doesn't take a lot, just consistent action every day, man.
Yeah, 1% every day is 365% better at the end of the year.
I like that. I'm still in that. Okay.
1% every day.
1% every day. That's, I mean, at the end of the year, that's pretty good.
What I'm finding is that I'm like a higher, I'm like, I don't know, you can't put a percentage on how much better you are every day realistically, but doing one thing, it can amount to doing one thing each day that moves you towards that bigger goal that you have, that bigger vision that you have. And that is a matter of consistency. So
Right.
one action, even if you don't immediately start radically changing your life. Like for me, I radically changed my life by quitting all substances.
Right.
That radically changed my mindset. And it left me with nothing but my thoughts and feelings that I already had. So I wasn't diluting those or drowning those with anything. And then that forced me to look at myself objectively and think, this is what I'm working with. What can I do to change? And it was really painful to go through that, but I'm here and I'm better because of it.
Good.
So, yeah, I didn't really mean to dive into that. In the fact that I just wanted to say, like, again, how like I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be talking to you probably if I wasn't living this life, if I wasn't consistently trying to improve myself every day. And I am completely aware that the self-improvement journey is literally as long as you stay on it, you will
Right.
continue to improve. But what goes up must come down, and you, and as I say, you like I know that I will reach a point where I can't improve anymore in a way. But I know that I can improve certain aspects of my life every single day
Yeah.
because it's a day-to-day thing.
Yeah.
And the way I operate today creates the next 10 days, the next 20 days, the next year, the next 10 years, the way I operate today. And I have taken certain steps to operate day to day to day effectively. So like I
Yeah.
track all my time. I really, if I'm awake, I'm trying to be productive. Now that's forced me to realize, wow, I was like connecting a lot of my productivity to my value. And then I had to step away from that and get detached from that. So it's been a constant, again, back to the delusions. Like I've been constantly trying to pull myself out of the delusions. So I think one of your first questions was like, when did you start? I started when I began to pull myself out of the delusional like life that I was living.
Right. Personal development is important, man. It's very important. Like, I believe that's honestly on my top priority list is working on myself as a person,
Mm-hmm.
period.
Do you watch David Goggins?
Man, dude, David Goggins he's something else, man. I've actually
I got his
have
book
a
and
book of his
I
that
listen.
wanted to read. Yeah.
Is the You Can't Hurt Me or the Can't Hurt Me book?
Yes.
I have it. I haven't read it.
Downloaded on Audible right now.
I haven't read the whole thing. I need to get the audiobook. That would also help me as well. I kind of know the whole story. I actually have been told I'm quoting the book and I haven't read the whole book because I listened to his content and listened to his interviews
Right.
so much. Because I just want to literally be the best version of myself I can be for me, not anybody else.
Yep.
And he says like you go into the ring every day, like you're going into the ring to fight with yourself every day.
Yep.
So
You can
what
get
does it
yesterday
take?
yourself, man.
What does it take to get you to go into that room? And he talks about it, the dark room. Like you going into that room. That's what I'm doing, man. I'm trying to go into the abyss and come out the best version of myself that I could be on the other side. Because through the pain is where the growth is. Like through it, not around it, not on the other side of it over here. Through it.
Yeah, that's some deep stuff, and I agree for sure. No, David Goggins, he has some pretty powerful messages, man.
Yep, I agree. All right, Derrick. Well, it has been so good to have you on the podcast. I am, like I said, really grateful that you were here and asked those questions because it's stuff that I'm directly dealing with. And just full transparency, like I was actually really excited to have you here because I could be fully transparent. Like I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not like making a living off of Yanko Visual yet. I'm not doing a lot of things. But it's not a linear journey, just like healing isn't a linear journey. And I love that you're taking steps as well and you're, radically changing your life for the better to improve the potential of your kids' lives. That's huge, dude. That's what I want to do. Like you're doing exactly what I want to do. And I don't have kids yet. I just know that I want to prepare and be something and have something for that. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, so no, I get it 100%. So, like, I wish I would have had things figured out before my kids were born, but I think it's going to make more of an impact now that I already have kids, so they actually see the process of me getting to where I want to be. Because, like, it's really easy for them to be like, oh, this is where I started off, and this is where I'm at now. But now they see where I started off versus where I'm trying to get at, which makes a more lasting impact on how they see themselves in the future, I feel like.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, man, again, it's been so great to have you here.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. If you are still listening and watching, I love you more than you will even ever know. My name is Joshua, and this is The Entrepreneur.
Yeah.